Hey, good morning, team. It's Mr. Whitley, and today's lesson is for Thursday the 14th. And hopefully, we can get outside sometime over the next few days. It looks like it's going to be raining and thunderstorming, but warm. So, ugh. Anyway, a few things we're going to hit on today. We're going to work on some more base words and suffixes just as a review from what we hit at the beginning of the year. I'm going to talk to you about third grade math, just kind of prepare you for some of it. I know you and I have looked at multiplication a few times, but we're going to build up to a few things. So I want to go back to the building blocks of multiplication that you and I have talked about, but I don't think too many other second grade classes have, just because we were getting ready for third grade secretly. So we'll go over some of the tricks that go into multiplying, and then we're going to read a new book that has to do with the digestive system and nutrition. So let's jump right into it. So for base words and suffixes, we're going to look at ER and EST. Now, just like the things that we've been looking at, S and ES and ING and ED, ER and EST obviously go at the end of a base word. So we have a few base words here. We have tall, we have small, and we have strong. Now, when we look at ER and EST, those are comparing suffixes. So when you are using the suffix ER, you are normally comparing one or two different things. So if I'm saying taller, so Quinn and Eli are standing next to each other, and I say Eli is taller than Quinn. But if I'm comparing three or more things or people, I would use the suffix est. So I would say, Eli is taller than Quinn, but I am the tallest of the family. I'd be comparing four people. I would be the tallest. So we would add est to the end of our base word tall to show that I'm the most of that, the tallest. Smaller and smallest. Now, if we were comparing who had the smaller plate at dinner, definitely be Quinn. Quinn's a picky eater. We would say Quinn had a smaller plate than Eli. So we're just comparing two people or two things in that case. But if we want to compare the family, so three or more, we would say Quinn had the smallest plate out of all four of us. So ER refers to comparing two things or people. Smallest is when you're comparing three or more, okay? Stronger, and then strongest. So we could say Mando is stronger than Eli. But we could say Mrs. Whitley is the strongest of the three. Out of Mando and Eli and Mrs. Whitley, she's the strongest because she exercises. So our suffix obviously go at the end of a word. It changes the meaning of a word. Our suffixes ER are used when we're comparing two things or two people. EST is when we're comparing three or more, and you want to say it's the most. So like, he's the tallest in the class. We could even be comparing all 20 of us. So EST is when we're comparing three or more, and you want to talk about what's the most, okay? There's actually different situations where you could use ER, where it's not comparing. Like if you're talking about the idea of sing, and you add ER, you make it a singer. You're not comparing two singers, you're just changing the word sing to singer, someone who does that action, a singer. But most of the time, ER is comparing two or two things or people. Okay? So for multiplication, when we're talking about multiplication, otherwise known as times, don't get that mixed up. It's the same thing. If I say multiplication and I say I'm going to times something, those are both the exact same things. This isn't time, it's times, okay? And this is a symbol that we use for multiplication or times. You use an X there. When we are doing multiplication, all it is repeated addition of the same number. Let me say that again. Multiplication or times is simply repeated addition of the same number. Times is just a fast way to add the same number up over and over again. It's just a quicker way. It's like microwaving your dinner instead of putting it in the oven, okay? So for example, we have 5 times 2. We want to write it up and down, at least when we first start learning how to do multiplication. It's always easier to see things like that. 5 goes on top, 2 goes on the bottom. We have our multiplication symbol to the left, our equal sign at the bottom. And then down here I made an array. Now we know array is a picture made up of shapes or tallies or circles that help us to solve a lot of sort of different problems, but in this case we're going to use it specifically for multiplication. So here, that 5, we would use the 5 as the rows, so how many we have going across. So we have 5 rows going across, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And our 2 is our columns, how many we have going up and down. So 1 column, 2 columns. So we have 5 rows with 2 in each. So we have 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. Or we could say it like this, 5 and 5. You can flip that. There's actually a special rule, but I'll tell you about that later. You can flip that. You can do 2 times 5 or 5 times 2. You still come up with the same product. You can use an array, draw it out to help you to solve a multiplication problem. Like I said, you can also do repeated addition. This is the same thing as 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2. 2 5 times. You're just simply doing repeated addition. Now we can do it this way. We could say 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Or we could do it like this. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Or we can even flip it. We could say we have 5 plus 5. That's going to give us the exact same product as doing 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2. You can flip those numbers in multiplication and you'd still get the same product, the same answer. So instead of going 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, you could say 5, 10. It's simply skip counting. No matter what, our product is going to come out to 10, okay? So those are a couple strategies that you can pull out when you're doing addition, especially simple addition, like 2 plus 5. We're going to hit some more. We're going to hit some double-digit addition as well. We'll see how fast we can go with this. I'd love to get you into triple-digit addition, just to kind of show you how it works by the end of our school year. We have a few more weeks, so we'll see what we can get in, okay? All right, I did promise you that we're going to read a new book. This does connect to our digestive system conversation that we've been having, nutrition and food. And so yesterday we talked about stone soup, and I want you to take a look at this cover. This title is Bone Button Borscht. And so this story actually has a lot of Jewish words in it. So I always do my best to pronounce them, but I know there are times where I don't always say them correctly. So Bone Button Borscht. And if you look at this cover, I love it. And I love when we do a notice and wonder on it, because most of my kids will say, okay, I noticed this man in the front. He's got a long beard. His clothes don't look like super new. The pot here has like a bright light coming from it, almost like it's magical or special. And if you look, he's throwing in 2 buttons. Now that probably will give you a little alarm in your head, say ding, ding, ding. I think we've seen something before where someone puts two of something in a pot. And if you look in the back, it almost looks like that picture from yesterday where we had the peasants who were kind of watching the three soldiers. And the cool thing about this is this is the main character, but I won't tell who it is just yet. He's in color, although dark and kind of drab, and then the people behind him are in gray and black and white and very pale blues and just a little bit of pink. But he's the only one who's in color. It brings him to what's called the forefront. Your eyes are drawn to him. So anyway, think about, hey, what prediction could we have? Is this a fiction or non-fiction book? I bet you already know what it is, simply by the cover. What could it have to do with what we've been talking about? What are your predictions as to what the character will do and the people around him? And let's jump into it. One dark winter's night, a ragged little beggar hobbled along a lonely road. It was a snowy and bitter cold, but in his head it was warm and rosy. He saw a blazing fireplace and a table loaded with bowls of borscht, noodle pudding, roast chicken, fruit, nuts, and a jug of wine. And his host was saying, "More chicken, Mr. Beggar?" And he's saying, "Oh no, I couldn't eat another bite." Ah, there is nothing like being a beggar, he thought. Such good it brings out in people. They share, they give, and me, I get a little something too. It's perfect. The beggar reached the crest of the hill. He peered out through the driving snow into the night. So where's the town? He asked himself. There should be a town at the bottom of this hill. I can't see it. So think about what you know about a beggar. Or do you know what a beggar is? If you do, you probably know a beggar is someone who doesn't typically have a home. They may not have a job. They don't have money of their own. Generally, they ask for help. Maybe they ask for food, or maybe they ask for money. And then you can see that he's kind of traveling. And the cool thing is, keep an eye on the colors here. Now, this is very gray, like a washed gray, and browns. Nothing that really stands out as very bright. But watch how it changes. As he walked downhill, small, shadowy houses slowly took shape on his left and on his right. Fine, he said. Now I see the town, but where are the lights? Where are the people? He knocked on a door. Please, a little food for a poor starving beggar, he cried. A face appeared in the frosty window, then vanished. There were footsteps, then silence. The beggar went to another house and knocked. Please help me, I'm hungry and cold. Go away, called a voice from within. Just let me in, for a few minutes even. No, go away. So the beggar moved on from house to house and door to door, but no one would help him. What is wrong with these people, he wondered. Does this have anything in common with the story we read yesterday? Maybe how the townspeople treated the three soldiers at first? I wonder how that'll change. Now, if you notice the colors in this one, a little lighter than the first page, and here's our next one. He trudged further down the road. Suddenly, he spotted a thin line of light in the snow. So there's our thin line of light, and the first bright color we've really seen in this book. He followed it to a crack in a doorway, pushed the door open, and went inside. It was a synagogue. A synagogue is like a temple where the Jewish people can worship. It's like a church. Thank God for synagogues, he cried and rushed inside. As he warmed himself by the stove, he looked around the room. Suddenly, he spotted a man in the shadows. It was a synagogue caretaker, the shamus. Shalom, Aklam, peace be with you, cried the beggar. The shamus did not answer. Strange, thought the beggar. A glimmer crept into his eye, and the corners of his mouth turned up ever so slightly. He had an idea. He grabbed one of the bone buttons on the coat and tugged. Chick! Off came the button. Chick! Chick! Off came two more. Chick! And another. Chick! And another. Still the shamus did not speak, but now he was looking at the beggar. Now he was curious. So take a look at our beggar. He's warming himself at a stove. There's a shamus. He's wondering what this beggar is doing with all these buttons, but I bet you can make a prediction as to what they are. Okay, we'll pick that up on Monday. Tomorrow we'll do our science and art activities, and I look forward to talking to you guys then. All right, see you soon.